company.
Tonight on CTV3 News, U.S. President Trump imposes 10% reciprocal tariff on Belize, signaling shift in trade dynamics. Police recover stolen laptops in San Lorenzo housing site area. Smooth transition announced as Dr. Anthony Rosado set to assume role of Commissioner of Police. And the BSCFA speaks on recent leadership shift in sugar industry. These are some of the stories we have for you tonight in our newscast for Thursday, April 3rd, 2025.
Coming soon, Pro FC 16. Get ready for an electrifying night of combat sports as Pro FC takes over the Princess Vegas Hotel and Casino in Corazon on Saturday, May 17th, 2025. Witness 14 adrenaline-fueled fights featuring the fiercest competitors from Belize, Mexico, Canada, and Guatemala, all battling for glory and supremacy in the ring. Pro FC 16. Don't just watch the action. Be part of it. Pro FC 16, exclusive on the Express Plus app.
The New World screwworm poses a significant threat to livestock, pets, and humans. It can cause severe losses if not controlled quickly. Currently, it is not present in Belize. That is why early detection is crucial to prevent its spread. Let us help to keep it out. Don't bring animals from other countries illegally. If you notice maggots, larvae, or worms in unusual wounds, report them immediately. Call Baja at 824-4872 or text 670-7003. Together we can work to keep our country safe from the New World screwworm and save animals. This message was brought to you by Baja, OIRSA, AICA, USDA, and the Ministry of Agriculture, Food Security, and Enterprise.
Good evening with your news, also simulcast on Fiesta FM 106.7. I am Joanna Rodriguez. In a significant breakthrough in a theft investigation, local authorities recovered 8 stolen Lenovo laptops this morning as part of an operation conducted by the Crime Investigation Branch CIB in the San Lorenzo housing site area in Orange Walk. At approximately 9 a.m., officers executed a search warrant at the residence of 58-year-old Shermadine Lanza, a cleaner residing in the San Lorenzo housing site. Acting on intelligence about stolen items, police found 3 Lenovo Chromebooks on the premises, which were promptly retrieved as evidence. Following this discovery, investigators broadened their search to include 5 additional residences within Orange Walk town. Their efforts were rewarded when they recovered 5 more laptops, bringing the total to 8 stolen devices. Authorities confirmed that all the recovered laptops were reported stolen by the Ministry of Education in Belize City in February 2025. The ministry had been actively investigating the theft, which involved educational technology crucial for schools in the region. Shermadine Lanza has been taken into custody for questioning as part of the ongoing investigation. Police have not ruled out a further arrest as they continue to probe the circumstances surrounding the thefts and recovery of the laptops. In a move that has sent ripples through international trade circles, U.S. President Donald Trump has announced a 10% reciprocal tariff on imports from Belize and other countries. This decision marks a significant evolution in the United States' trade policies and could fundamentally alter economic relations between nations. The tariff is part of a broader initiative aimed at addressing trade imbalances globally with the aim of fostering fairer competition for American businesses. The announcement was made during a press conference yesterday where President Trump emphasized the administration's commitment to protecting American industries and ensuring equitable trade practices. The 10% reciprocal tariff will directly impact businesses in Belize, especially those reliant on exporting goods to the United States or utilizing the country as a transit hub for goods destined to the North American market. The Belize Chamber of Commerce and industry and business owners are already expressing concern that the tariff could hinder economic growth and may lead to increased costs for consumers within the country and even affect tourism. Jody Williams, Vice President of BCCI Export Sales Director, speaks.
So for example, like food producers like ourselves here at Murray Sharp, so far for all over these years that we've been exporting to the US market, our products, we have, there was no importation taxes into the US because we were part of CARICOM, the Caribbean agreements and so forth. So all these years, there was 0% tax for food products from Belize into the US. Now that's no longer the case. Now, for our partners in the US, our importers, they have to pay a 10% new tariff rate and cost for importing, let's say, food products from Belize. Yes, this will definitely increase inflation. And how it works is, right, on the export side, for example, this would definitely mean with exporters of Belize, sales will definitely slow down, because there's a new 10% tariff that they would pay for products. So definitely exporters like us, we would have to either raise prices in order to absorb that increase, or our partners in that country would also have to raise price on the consumer there. Now let's look at someone in the United States who imports packaging materials and other materials from India, from Mexico in order to do their final product. Let's say bottles, boxes, and so forth. They would definitely pay higher tariffs on these packaging materials, even though they do the final packaging in the US, right? So now when we are getting these products from the US to Belize, all these tariffs and these extra costs will be added to that product that's coming to Belize. So, if we like that butter coming from the United States, food products, that ham, definitely will continue to see rise in prices of goods and also products who definitely outsource materials from other countries who are being, where these taxes are being imposed on. Definitely exporters like us, we would have to either raise prices in order to absorb that increase, or our partners in that country would also have to raise price on the consumer there. Now let's look at someone in the United States who imports packaging materials and other materials from India, from Mexico in order to do their final product. Let's say bottles, boxes, and so forth. They would definitely pay higher tariffs on these packaging materials, even though they do the final packaging in the US, right? So now when we are getting these products from the US to Belize, all these tariffs and these extra costs will be added to that product that's coming to Belize. So, if we like that butter coming from the United States, food products, that ham, definitely will continue to see rise in prices of goods and also products who definitely outsource materials from other countries who are being, where these taxes are being imposed on.
For your company, I know that you recently started to send products to Dubai. Would that be what would happen now, whereby our exporters would try to find new markets, or are we too reliant on exporting to the US already?
Yes. The thing is that the US is one of our largest partners in importing and also exporting. And definitely a countermeasure is trying to look for new markets that is not the US. But we get many tourists mostly from the US as well. They eat our products here and they take back. So, there's a trickle effect. For us, definitely, we have to look at other markets like Dubai, like Japan. But guess what's happening? Like in Japan and other markets, they are already been hit hard with post-COVID, the war in Ukraine and Russia, high inflation. So the US market was kind of booming, but it is said now that the US is headed for a recession if Trump continues on with these decision making. And the thing is here as well, we don't have any certainty whether this reciprocal 10% tariff will be permanent. Is it only short term? Right now as we speak, we have some officials in the US who are proposing bills to say that, Trump didn't do the process, you needed to take this 60-day process into Congress for it to be approved and so forth. So let's see what happens. It would either stay or it will go away. Until then, definitely persons in the US will not be buying our products. They will wait and see if this 10% will go. But guess what? Products that are already on the sea or already arriving in the US, they must pay that 10%. So goods coming from the US as well will be higher in price.
And like you said, you know, while 10% may not seem like a lot when compared to other countries, but you said that some of these countries with higher tariffs may provide products or
Yeah.
items that go into helping products that we would normally buy from the US. Um, so I guess for the average Belizean, what would be the advice to just, shop local?
Yes. Average advice definitely to shop local, to really look at what is your wants and your needs when it comes to spending, and also having an emergency security money aside for anything that could happen. We know with all these tariffs, this is happening not only in Belize but worldwide. Everything will continue to go up. We are already facing high prices as we speak. So, now we need to really sit down and say, do I need to get that new radio or that new phone, or do I put up my money for food products? Do I invest into my children's education? Because now guess what? For every $100 that you now have in your hand, it's becoming less and less. Groceries on your, back then you could have go with a $50 bill and buy all the groceries you need. But now it's more than $100 for that same amount of groceries. And these new tariffs is something happening worldwide. The US, they are a superpower. There are other countries like China and Canada and Mexico that could counter, right? They counter back with their own new tariffs. But us in Belize, we are not, we're not a superpower. We're still a developing nation. So we can't tell the US, guess what? We're gonna increase this on you unless you try. But definitely it's good to have our leaders sit down with the US officials and to dialogue. That it starts with dialogue and getting to see what could be done, because honestly, we are a developing nation. We import a lot of food products and other products. We're still developing, and definitely, they can't, it's hard for a big country to levy taxes on us when we are a developing nation for sure.
If this continues, do you think it could reach a point whereby businesses would have to consider letting people go?
If evaluation is done and money is less, definitely it could happen. Us as Belizeans and businesses now, we have to look at where the money is going, where we invest, and also where do we buy our products. Do we try to purchase more products from Guatemala to bring into Belize, like cereals, milk, things that we need, because honestly, if anything coming from the US as well, it will be not only higher shipping prices, but these tariffs are being imposed on packaging materials entering the US as well.
So you suggest that maybe we need to stop, glorifying a lot of these US products that we see on TV and probably
Yeah.
giving, products from other countries a chance?
Yes, more than ever, if we have less money in our pocket, we might trade off that frosted flakes and buy azucaritas. Because guess what? The sucaritas and the frosted flakes could be the same size, the same product, but one is made in Mexico or Guatemala, but definitely the frosted flakes would probably cost you about $4 to $5 more on the shelf than the sucaritas. So definitely we will see more Central American products come into Belize due to these things. More than ever, I think the region needs to come together as one CARICOM and also Central American, and which includes Belize, because alone it's hard to really sit down and talk and negotiate with the US. So definitely we need to collaborate on that.
Okay, anything else you'd like to add?
Yes, just like to add to Belizeans, just keep tuned to your news. You know, sometimes these news are constantly changing as well. Keep a track of the world news and also our local news, and let's see updates what's happening with the US and it will mean for Belize. And then the thing is too that tourist season is so booming right now. So some persons might say, guess what? Well, tourism is high, so it won't affect us. But guess what? When tourists come and they go to the restaurant and the restaurant has to raise their price on food, hotels have to go up, then we say, hey, guess what? Belize is too expensive for me to come, due to this rising cost. Maybe I go to a neighboring country. So it's a domino effect in every industry, whether small business, medium, or large.
As the impact of the new tariff policy unfolds, the advice is to seek other markets and to purchase local products.
For us, definitely, we have to look at other markets like Dubai, like Japan, but guess what's happening? Like in Japan and other markets, they are already been hit hard with post-COVID, the war in Ukraine and Russia, high inflation. So the US market was kind of booming, but it is said now that the US is headed for a recession if Trump continues on with these decision making. And the thing is here as well, we don't have any certainty whether this reciprocal 10% tariff will be permanent. Is it only short term? Right now as we speak, we have some officials in the US who are proposing bills to say that, Trump didn't do the process. You needed to take this 60-day process into Congress for it to be approved and so forth. So let's see what happens. It would either stay or it will go away. Until then, definitely persons in the US will not be buying our products. They will wait and see if this 10% will go. But guess what? Products that are already on the sea or already arriving in the US, they must pay that 10%. So goods coming from the US as well will be higher in price. Us as Belizeans and businesses now, we have to look at where the money is going, where we invest, and also where do we buy our products. Do we try to purchase more products from Guatemala to bring into Belize, like cereals, milk, things that we need, because honestly, if anything coming from the US as well, it will be not only higher shipping prices, but these tariffs are being imposed on packaging materials entering the US as well.
Of note is that according to the Statistical Institute of Belize, SIB, in 2024, Belize imported 1,302 million or 1.302 billion worth of goods from the U.S., but only exported 102.6 million. This means we imported from the U.S. almost 13 times more than we exported to that country. Apart from the Belize Chamber of Commerce and Industry, the government of Belize is also closely monitoring the newly announced U.S. tariff regime imposed by President Donald Trump, which includes a 10% reciprocal tariff affecting the country. Officials are taking immediate steps to assess the potential economic impact and safeguard the nation's interests as global trade dynamics shift. In an official statement released by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, government representatives acknowledge the tariff implementation with great concern. The government of Belize takes note of the new U.S. tariff regime announced yesterday by President Donald Trump. Our officials are currently and rapidly analyzing the information and will be consulting with the relevant stakeholders to ensure Belize's economic interests are safeguarded through bilateral dialogue with U.S. officials and coordination with CARICOM, the statement read. According to Honorable Chris Koyi, Minister of State in the Ministry of Finance and Economic Development, a meeting was held this afternoon to look at the implications.
I should say that we just had a meeting, convened a meeting from Ministries of Finance, Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, Ministry of Economic Development, the Central Bank as well. Within Foreign Trade, we had the Director General of Foreign Trade as well. Taking a whole of government approach to this, trying to get all the different perspectives when looking at the implications of the tariff. But But that said, we are engaging in an information data gathering process, both on a bilateral and on a multilateral basis through CARICOM. So the 10% tariff is in effect the baseline tariff that would be applied to products that Belize, let's say, exports into the US. So that's as we understand, there are certain exemptions, but more in relation to petroleum items. And like I said, we're still trying to fully understand the scope, and that those discussions continue. But to the extent that they apply to our exports, and especially our key exports, we have to look at how we go about mitigating the impact of those tariffs, and even consider what opportunities may arise. It's something that is relative. If the baseline is applied across to all countries, then relatively speaking, we are not in any worse off position so far as our exports are concerned. It's from a relative standpoint where some might be exempted and others are not, then we have to look at how it adversely affects us. So there are a lot of there's a lot of uncertainty and a lot of moving parts. So it's hard to just give you anything definitive at this point. But at the same time, as we are doing the analysis and foreign trade in particular, as they are doing that analysis, the key exports are what we are focusing in on. Belize's key exports to the US, they're what we're focusing in on and looking at what is the best approach.
For now, according to Koyi, it's difficult to pinpoint the inflationary effects.
That is something that we can't say definitively either, because in this time, I'm sure there will be negotiations that will be undertaken, if not already being done, and that can mitigate what the effects of those tariffs will be. It's not necessarily the case that the tariffs will remain where they are indicated at this point. It could actually come down. If it's, I'll just use as a hypothetical example, if the tariffs are reciprocal, then if you have a tariff rate applicable at, let's say, 20% right now, and the jurisdiction that has that applicable tariff of 20% to the US were to reduce that rate to 5% or 0%, then if it is reciprocal, then the expectation would be that the rates that the rate of tariff that the US would charge would come down as much as down to zero.
The implications of this new tariff regime comes at a time where Belize has seen significant trade activity with the United States, with recent figures from the Statistical Institute of Belize, SIB, indicating that the country exported approximately $3.4 million worth of goods to the U.S. in February 2025 alone. The announcement has sparked widespread reactions throughout the Caribbean region, with neighboring leaders voicing their apprehensions about the ripple effects of such economic policies. Prime Minister Gaston Brown of Antigua and Barbuda expressed concerns about the inflationary consequences for Caribbean nations, noting that around 80% of Antigua and Barbuda's trade is linked to the U.S., with a significant portion of food imports originating from there. He cautioned that increased shipping costs, particularly due to upcoming policies targeting vessels built in China, could inflate container shipping rates by thousands of dollars and subsequently raise the prices of imported goods for consumers. Similarly, Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves of St. Vincent and the Grenadines echoed these sentiments, highlighting the potential severe economic repercussions the Caribbean could face if the U.S. follows through on a proposal to impose a $1 million fee on any Chinese-built vessels calling at U.S. ports. He raised alarms about the repercussions on trade logistics in a region heavily reliant on U.S. transportation. The evolving situation will be closely monitored as Belize works to communicate its concerns and economic needs to U.S. counterparts and CARICOM partners. As the northern sugar industry transitions to fall under new ministerial leadership, there is no doubt that it continues to face major challenges which are threatening the sustainability of the industry. This year in particular has been a tough one in northern Belize as the industry has been plagued with severe weather setbacks as well as negative effects of the Fusarium fungus. These factors have severely impacted the quality of cane being delivered to the mill, even as conditions continue to improve. Today, the leadership of the Belize Sugarcane Farmers Association expressed optimism over the industry's ability to bounce back as summer months are now in full swing.
The quality is being progressing very fast right now as we speak because we are experiencing a summer right now without rain. So we are seeing in a day-to-day basis that that the quality is improving. We might not get to the point where we were last year, but I do believe that we will do much better to where it is right now. I cannot say at this point what will be the end result because, as you can clearly know, that we had a lot of problem with the weather, with a lot of rain, and also at last the Fusarium came and made his vision in many of the cane fields. So we are seeing those problems where the farmers are harvesting those type of cane, but we are seeing an improvement at this point in regards to quality. We hope that that can continue. Praise God that the weather continue the way it is. The only thing is that it brings us a little bit down because of the cane cutters. You know that the sun is very hot and climate change is around us. So it really put a little track back to us in regards to our deliveries. But we are trying our best. We are doing what we can. And I have seen that our quality is improving in a day-to-day basis.
Despite a sportive outlook for the remainder of the crop season, Alfredo Ortega, chairman of the BSCFA Committee of Management, says the farmers will undoubtedly feel the negative effects of this crop where payment is concerned.
It will be impacted very, very, very big because, as you know, the price right now has not reached the price it was last year at this time. I think last year we were in the vicinity of $60.61. Right now we are at $53.54.31, if I'm not mistaken, the last information they gave us last week Friday. So we are still down maybe for $3 below last year. So we see the impact, and we are seeing right now the quality where we are at this point. We are, if I'm not mistaken, we are in 13 right now, where last year we were in 11 at this time. So the gap that is here is a good distance right now. But hopefully, if we continue doing what we are doing right now in the harvesting, that 13 TCTs we have right now will reduce significantly as the crop progresses.
The Ministry of Home Affairs and New Growth Industries today announced a structured one-month transition process aimed at ensuring a seamless handover of the responsibilities of the Commissioner of Police. This process begins immediately, paving the way for Dr. Anthony R. Rosado to officially take on the role of Commissioner of Police, Compol. In a statement released by the ministry, officials emphasized that this transition embodies their commitment to maintaining stability, professionalism, and continuity within the leadership framework of the Belize Police Department. This process is crucial for preserving institutional knowledge, maintaining operational priorities, and ensuring that the safety and security of the Belizean people are upheld during this change in leadership, the statement read. As part of the transition, an official handing over ceremony will be held to mark the formal change of command. Specific details regarding the event will be communicated in the coming days. Yesterday, outgoing Commissioner of Police Chester Williams told the media that his last day in the department will be tomorrow, Friday, April 4th, and that as of Monday, April 7th, he would be stepping into his new role as the CEO in the Ministry of Transport. However, after a meeting with the Minister of Home Affairs and the Prime Minister, the decision was made to commence a one-month transition period. As it relates to the official handing over ceremony, Williams says he welcomes the initiative.
I'm certain that that is in the making. It's not like you think, it's not that I am being pushed out of the way. Certainly, this was something that was well planned in terms of me leaving and go over to transport. It's just a matter of how it ended up at the end in terms of the actions of the CEO. But the intention of Karim, my minister, and the Prime Minister, it's good. And it's an opportunity for me. It's an elevation in the government service, moving from a head of department to a CEO. And so I certainly look forward if there should be that handing over ceremony. I have no issue to participate.
The ministry took the opportunity to express its deepest appreciation to the outgoing Commissioner of Police, Chester Williams. His years of dedicated service, leadership, and commitment to public safety have left a lasting impact on the Belize Police Department and the nation as a whole. We thank him for his contributions and wish him continued success in all future endeavors, the ministry stated. With the transition process underway, the ministry also urged all stakeholders, including members of the police department and the general public, to support this pivotal transition. They called for collaborative efforts to bolster citizen security and enhance public trust in law enforcement moving forward. As Dr. Rosado prepares to step into his new role, the ministry is optimistic that his leadership will guide the Belize Police Department towards a brighter and more secure future for all Belizeans. Coming up next, Belize, the sugar industry inquiry report released. BSCFA chairman calls for fair negotiations amid ongoing disputes. Stay tuned.
Get the most out of your internet with Centaur's ExpressNet. Are you ready to supercharge your online experience? When connecting to your Velo Mesh device, make sure you're linked to our blazing fast 5 GHz frequency. Why 5 GHz? Faster speeds. At a shorter range, 5 GHz is perfect for use in smaller spaces where speed is your top priority. As for the 2.4 GHz, while connection may travel farther, it can lead to slower performance. Remember, choose 5 GHz for your devices and experience the difference instantly. ExpressNet, bringing you the best speeds for the ultimate online experience. For more information, contact us at 380-0101.
Escape into a world where secrets spill and drama unfolds.
It can't be for nothing. We won't even let this be for nothing.
Prepare for the fallout, a poignant exploration of the aftermath of a tragedy that changes everything. Stream The Fallout on HBO Max, available with Centaur.
The Belize Police Department is set to undergo a major transition, with the current Commissioner Chester Williams set to leave the department in the coming days. Now, while the Commissioner of Police is leaving, the Minister of Police, Honorable Karim Musa, says he is quite contented where he is. Minister Musa was recently reappointed to the Ministry of Home Affairs by Prime Minister John Bresenio following the PUP's March 12 landslide win. And while others may yearn for a big ministerial promotion, Musa says he is happy to have returned to his ministry.
I serve at his pleasure, at our government's pleasure, to be able to do the best in my capacity that I can. It is clearly, in my opinion, a vote of confidence by our Prime Minister to put me back here at the Ministry of Home Affairs because he knows that I will serve with integrity. I have preserved my reputation despite your meaningful attacks to try to destroy me, which I know you will continue to do, and I appreciate that. But no, I look at it as a challenge and a blessing, Jules, to be able to serve in any capacity to serve my country. While any minister would say they want to see a promotion or they want another ministry to do the best that they possibly can, I am totally satisfied with this ministry.
Being back as Minister of Home Affairs for another term, Minister Musa says there is a lot that he has planned in terms of projects to help in crime fighting.
The biggest splash, so to speak, for this year is going to be the introduction of 1,000 CCTV cameras. We are already set up here in the Belmopan area. I think when you came into Belmopan, you might have seen them at the roundabouts. We are establishing a headquarters here in Belmopan for the camera room along with BTL. They will be the service providers. And so we're growing exponentially, I think by some 400% in the number of cameras. I think currently we have around 200 or so cameras. And we just want to grow in terms of our use of these assets, these tools like innovation and technology, because we have seen where a bulk of our crimes are solved with cameras, whether it is these CCTV cameras or private cameras on establishments. They are of great use in solving crimes. And so that is going to be the big splash for this year.
Fighting crime also include growing the police department with the installation of new police officers, according to Musa.
So I wouldn't say we're stretched thin. I think we are reaching close to the levels we were at in 2015, 2016, around 2,600 officers. We did have a lot of attrition over the last, early on, 5 years ago, but we're now growing those numbers. We have a recruit squad that will be graduating sometime in June of this year, and then we could look forward after that to maybe enlisting additional officers. As you know, we only have capacity here at the training academy for 225 officers at any given time, and that's a 6-month training. So it can't be that we grow 1,000 every single year. We actually have to do it incrementally.
In a move to address critical health system challenges and strengthen public service delivery, the Cabinet of Belize convened to endorse a series of transformative initiatives during its latest session. One of the standout decisions was the endorsement of the Belize Health Sector Strategic Plan for the years 2025 to 2034. This comprehensive roadmap aims to tackle pressing health system issues in the country. The strategic plan emphasizes the importance of guiding resource allocation, promoting institutional coordination, and implementing a diligent performance tracking system. Additionally, it establishes a robust monitoring and evaluation framework to ensure transparency and accountability in the health sector. In a bid to bolster the workforce within the public health sector, the Cabinet also approved a retention package consisting of allowances for nurses employed in the system. This initiative will be rolled out in phases and is designed to retain highly skilled and technically proficient nursing staff. Turning to infrastructure, Cabinet sanctioned the Minister of Public Utilities, Energy and Logistics to sign a statutory instrument for amendments to the water industry tariffs amendment bylaws. This adjustment extends the current full tariff period from its original start date of April 1st, 2025 to April 1st, 2026. The amendments will ensure that existing tariffs, fees, and charges remain effective until March 31st, 2026, aiding in the stability and predictability of water services. Addressing a pivotal topic, Cabinet reviewed proposals for the redivisioning of electoral divisions presented by the Elections and Boundaries Commission. However, it reaffirmed an earlier decision that these proposals were unworkable and did not meet constitutional requirements. In a proactive response, Cabinet requested the minister responsible for elections to collaborate with the Attorney General and the Elections and Boundaries Commission to explore necessary constitutional amendments for a successful redivisioning process, which is expected to be completed within 1 year. In other cabinet news, to further enhance public safety and building standards, Cabinet approved proposed amendments to the Belize building codes. These changes aim to reflect the unique natural conditions of Belize, thereby strengthening building infrastructure, fortifying the governance framework, and establishing quality building parameters that encompass public health safety and environmental protection. Additionally, Cabinet approved legislative amendments to the Central Bank of Belize Act, allowing the inclusion of the Director General of the Financial Services Commission as a member of the Central Bank Board of Directors. This amendment seeks to enhance governance within the financial sector. To streamline land tax collection efforts, Cabinet transferred responsibilities for land tax collection to the Belize Tax Service, BTS, initiating a phased transition process over 1 year. This transition involves interagency coordination and the utilization of the online e-risk platform for assessment, billing, and collection to enhance efficiency and compliance. Lastly, the Cabinet approved the policy on the preparation of a fiscal strategy plan and a disaster risk financing policy and implementation plan. This policy is part of the World Bank's International Development Association IDA Sustainable Development Policy, aiming to promote fiscal stability and ensure adequate resources are available for disaster risk management. As we had previously reported, the government of Belize has presented the final report compiled through the Commissioner of Inquiry, which was conducted on Belize's sugar industry late last year. The document is an extensive 200-plus page report which highlights investigations, concerns, and then recommendations in key areas within both the northern and western sugar industries. Areas of focus include the cane fields, the grinding process, and also transportation of sugar for exportation. Today, the chairman of the Committee of Management of the largest cane farmer association, BSCFA, Fred Ortega, spoke on the document, which he says is still being reviewed by the association, after which it will be taking a position as to the upcoming negotiations with BSI-ASR on a long-term commercial agreement.
We had a meeting today on which we start to align where we are seeing or having knowledge in regards to what the report is in regards to the Commission of Inquiry report, because that will be our guiding book right now. We have not went through it because we just get the report, if I'm not mistaken, on Thursday. So we are just seeing in the first instance about it. We will go through it so that we can prepare ourselves. Whenever we start the negotiation, we'll be sending a letter not too far from here to BSI, on which we will be requesting a date and time for us to start to meet for a negotiation with them. And that is why I mentioned on the beginning that we are looking into what are the recommendations from the Commission of Inquiry. And once we go through the report, then we will see what they are recommending. And based on their recommendation, we will see if it matches in some way or form what we were asking in our negotiation with them. And if not, well, we will see what it entails. And from there, we will be moving on to negotiate for a new agreement with BSI-ASR.
Having been unable to reach a long-term agreement with the millers since 2022, according to Ortega, is also playing a negative role on the BSCFA's ability to secure fair trade premiums for its farmers.
Well, the issue is, Marisol, we have not signed the enhancement agreement with Titan Lyle. And the thing is that we have not signed it because within that enhancement that they're asking for, there are things that will hide us as the BSCF as an association. And in reality, we comply with what the standards of fair trade says. We have our certificate active. We have passed all through audits that are being done to the association. This letter of enhancement is not covered within the standard. So what we are seeing is that they are putting these type of situations against us because we don't want to sign the agreement such as is. What we are looking for is having a better agreement for our farmers, and that is why they're using this as a tool against us, and it's the fair trade funds, the premium that they are using against us, not giving us that premium which duly belongs to the BSCFA members.
This issue is currently a live matter before the courts, and the hope, according to Ortega, is for fair treatment to prevail in order for the association to be able to get what is duly due to them.
As you know and as you asked, what is our plan for the future in regards to the negotiation for the agreement? We continue to that. We ask for the Commission of Inquiry to come on board. We have now the report of the Commission of Inquiry. So what will be our next step is to find a way to negotiate with them. The same negotiation that we were unable to conclude because, as you know, we have been signing addendum, but there hasn't been that we have signed an agreement where, okay, it's an agreement for the next 3 years, next 2 years, or whatever years we would want to work with them. So at this point in time, and as you have seen, when we started this last negotiation, when we came to the end of the past agreement, which ended in January 2022, from that time to now, they have not been given the BSCFA the premium that is duly right to the BSCFA because we have not completed, or we have not, as you rightly said, successfully gone through a commercial agreement where we can sign and work with a new agreement. We have been asking for changes to be done within the agreement. They have refused to negotiate those terms, at least in one way or the form, because as you know, any negotiation, you have to give and take. We have tried that and we have not been successful to that. So because of that, then they have used that against us, on which the tool that they are using is not granting the premium or not paying us the premium, which is rightly due to us, because they don't want to come to those terms where the agreement should benefit both sides.
In terms of the most recent change in the industry, which was moved from under the Ministry of Agriculture to the Office of the Prime Minister, Alfredo Ortega says that while the association has raised concerns about the decision, their main concern lies on what is next for the industry under the new leadership. Removal of Minister Mai from the leadership of the sugar industry raises concerns about the best interest of the farmers. The BSCFA is expected to meet with Minister Osmond Martinez in the coming days. Today in rural Belize, the Gales Point Manatee Preschool and Primary School saw the official unveiling its newly renovated school building. The project was done through a collaboration between the Belize Social Investment Fund, the Caribbean Development Bank, CDB, and the Ministry of Education, Science and Technology. Present in today's special event was Senior Minister of State in the Ministry of the Prime Minister, Honorable Dolores Balderramos Garcia, who, aside from expressing great contentment over the project, also shared a brief look into her new position as Senior Minister of State.
In relation to transitioning from Human Development and Indigenous Affairs into the Office of the Prime Minister, I am able to fashion some of my own role because I have been full of firsts in my life, and I believe I'm the first Senior Minister of State that has been appointed in this country. Now, I have said to the Prime Minister that I'm particularly interested in elder affairs. In other words, promoting the rights and the well-being and our services for elderly people. I know that in Barbados, there is a portfolio of elder affairs. We may not have that here, but even in an informal basis, I will be able to help in that regard. And I am still passionate about HIV and AIDS. I'm still willing to help with national awards and other things that were suggested to me. But what I find groundbreaking is that I am able to say to the Prime Minister, PM, let's put a little emphasis here, or let us put a little emphasis there, you know? So I'm very happy about it. And I have offered, as I have already said to the media, I have offered help to Minister Zabane, I have offered help to Minister Teya, and of course the special envoy, Mrs. Briceño. Whatever help they may need and however I can fit in, I will be absolutely happy to do so.
In her new role, Minister Balderrama says she is able to focus on areas which she is passionate about, which includes the elderly.
I have been able to take a little break after the election. You know, as you know, we were overwhelmingly re-elected, especially right here in Gales Point. I think we won something like 70% of the vote, you know. So I was able to take a little break and downtime, but now I am ready to continue giving back to the community. And I think that was born in me from my parents, you know, so I will continue to do that.
In terms of the most recent change in the industry, which was moved from under the Ministry of Agriculture to the office of the Prime Minister, Alfredo Ortega says that while the association has raised concerns about the decision, their main concern lies on what is next for the industry under the new leadership.
Well, the letter we write to the Prime Minister is not something that Fred Ortega did by himself. It's a request from many of our farmers because it took us by surprise when he announced that the sugar industry was removed from Minister Mai. And we clearly know how Mr. Mai was really working very hard with us in these 5 years or 4 years and a half that he was there as Minister of Agriculture. We really express ourselves on what our farmers called us to inquire for. We don't have, and we are not finding no confrontation with no one. What we are looking for is that we want to be very clear where we'll be moving from here, because since the Prime Minister is the minister now in charge, we want to know what will be the plans and what will be the moves from now on, being him in charge now of the sugar industry and having the Honorable Osman Martinez as guardian, as he said, on a day-to-day basis, looking after the industry. So those are things that we have on board right now, and we were having our conversation about it today. As I said, we are not looking for any confrontation. What we want is that we get the benefit of what our farmers really looking for, that there is a equity, that there is a just balance that our farmers should get.
According to Ortega, the removal of Minister Mai from the leadership of the sugar industry raises concerns about the best interest of the farmers.
That is the thing, and that is where we have this concern, because as you can clearly see, what were the words of the Prime Minister when he said that he had to fly in an emergency meeting to Miami with the owners of ASR. So those are things that really put us to think about what were the decisions, what were the points that were brought in to him, why he had to fly over there. Because whenever we asked him to come with us at those times when Mr. Mai was the minister, we had a very hard time to meet with the Prime Minister in those times. So we don't know exactly what were the arrangements on his meeting with them. He have not said anything about that, and that is what really put us in this situation, that we don't know what they agreed on. We don't know what will be the next move of the industry, but what we are asking for is that he now that holds that position as the minister in charge of sugar be not all in favor to the cane farmers, but at least that the industry become an industry where all of us can work with trust, that there can be transparency, that we can have plans where together we can move forward the farmers, the producers, the association, and the millers. That is what we are looking for. We don't want any confrontation with nobody. All that we are looking for is that we have equal benefit, that the farmers can get, based on their sacrifices, a good price for their cane, and that the millers can also make their money on extracting the sugar from the sugarcane.
And here is more news after the break. Stay tuned.
Get the most out of your internet with Centaur's ExpressNet. Are you ready to supercharge your online experience? When connecting to your Velo Mesh device, make sure you're linked to our blazing fast 5 GHz frequency. Why 5 GHz? Faster speeds at a shorter range. 5 GHz is perfect for use in smaller spaces where speed is your top priority. As for the 2.4 GHz, while connection may travel farther, it can lead to slower performance. Remember, choose 5 GHz for your devices and experience the difference instantly. ExpressNet, bringing you the best speeds for the ultimate online experience. For more information, contact us at 380-0101.
Belize has officially taken the reins of the Regional International Agricultural Health Committee, CIRSA, during the opening of the 72nd Ordinary Meeting, which commenced today. This two-day gathering unites agriculture ministers from across the region to focus on pressing issues related to agricultural health and food security. Minister of Agriculture Jose Abelardo May was appointed as the new president of CIRSA, emphasizing the critical role of collaborative efforts in enhancing agricultural productivity and resilience. In particular, he underscored the importance of a unified approach in addressing the ongoing challenge of screwworm infestations affecting livestock, a challenge that is met with the support of organizations such as OIRSA, the USDA, and IICA. The meeting also highlighted significant strides by Belize in agricultural research and biological pest management. Minister Mai updated attendees on progress with the Formosona banana variety, which has been developed to be resistant to the severe Fusarium tropical race 4 fungus. Additionally, he noted the successful production of over 367,000 Anagrius camali specimens at the Belmopan insectary, a strategic move aimed at combating the pink mealybug while reducing reliance on chemical pesticides. Key discussions during the event included a review of the 2024 CIRSA Presidency Report, as well as the Executive Directorate Report from OIRSA. Strategies for addressing the screwworm issue were also on the agenda. The meeting is set to conclude tomorrow with the signing of the official meeting minutes, marking another step in the ongoing effort to bolster agricultural health and food security in the region. The National Climate Change Office of the Ministry of Sustainable Development, Climate Change, and Solid Waste Management is proud to participate in the World Bank KPOK Knowledge Exchange on blue carbon happening from March 31st to April 4th, 2025 in Seoul and Jeju, Republic of Korea. This international forum brings together global experts and country representatives to explore key topics like blue carbon, carbon markets, and collaborative climate action. Representing Belize is Mr. Sumit Betancourt, Deputy Chief Climate Change Officer, who is actively engaging in technical sessions, sharing lessons learned, and showcasing Belize's efforts in building carbon market readiness. Both blue and green carbon remain vital pillars of Belize's nationally determined contributions and NDCs. Opportunities like this are crucial for keeping Belize at the cutting edge of climate solutions while reinforcing our nationally driven sustainable path forward. And that's the news. We invite you to join us for another newscast on Friday, April 4th here on CTV3 News and Face FM 106.7. Remember that to read a text version of the news, you can visit our website at ctv3belizenews.com. You can also log on to our Facebook page for current stories at facebook.com/ctv3belizenews or our YouTube channel at CTV3 News BZ. From all of us here at CTV3 News, thank you for watching and listening. Good night.